I want to thank you for checking out another podcast of We Ain't Scared Talk, where we ain't scared. My name is A1, and as usual, thank you so much for taking the time to click that link and to check out another episode, another podcast of We Ain't Scared Talk. You could have been anywhere, but you decided to take just a few minutes, important minutes, I should say, out of your day to check in. And I appreciate that, always have, and always will be grateful for that. You know, something I said before we jump in is 2020. We're, I think, just over 50 days away? And it will be 4 years since this podcast came to life. And to say that it has been life-changing it's not an overstatement. I think this podcast and why it means so much to me is I can actually say what is really on my mind and what I think is on the majority of Black people's minds when it comes to things of America with 3 Ks. And granted, we will never be able to really dive really deep, but my hope is that enough seeds will be planted to spark thoughts in your mind to have a different perspective on things that otherwise you just let slide by or let go, or you let a surface level comment be made and you just sort of ignore it and let it pass. I firmly believe that those little comments that we let pass, if it's critical or prejudice or racist or oppressive, especially to African Americans, because that's the purpose of this podcast. Yes, other groups have their problems, but none have the problems of the Black community. And I don't say that lightly. Again, no other group has the problems that we have. And I like to also say that most of the other groups, they have minor inconveniences that they have to deal with. And Black people have real problems. So let's talk about these mugs, these We Ain't Scared Talk mugs. Oh, my goodness. Yes, We Ain't Scared Talk. Get your mug. If you don't have a mug, get a mug for Christmas for your loved ones. Show them you ain't scared. All right? So let's go ahead and jump in. Now, today, like most topics, I feel like this particular one could probably use 2 podcasts, but I just kind of want to see where this goes as I just started to formulating certain thoughts. It's going to split some hairs, okay, in terms of perspective and focus, because I'm trying to handle 2 completely independent topics and try to combine them into one. So I'm not sure how it's going to come out, but we're going to do it. Why? Because we ain't scared. So to jump into my notes, again, depending on how you view yourself in terms of race relations on a global landscape, but again, you know, the micro level being America, this topic is going to hit you in one of 2 ways. So let me tell you what we're going to be talking about today. Are Black people more afraid of white backlash or Black freedom? Are Black people more afraid of white backlash or Black freedom? Now, at first glance of hearing that, the strong Black people are going to say, hell no, I ain't afraid of white backlash. And those same people may ask themselves, okay, so what's up with this Black freedom thing? What do you mean? I'm free, right? Well, not entirely, right? There's this free-ish meme that I saw since 1865, so I think that says a lot. Black freedom to you, and it is not the same as the Black freedom that I'm referring to. So, but let's split this up, okay? Because I know a lot's coming at you, but let's split this up. Let's start with white backlash. This term came to life by Martin Luther King, okay, in his Other America speech. Basically that there are two Americas, and he gave this speech, and he talked about white backlash. Okay, this was obviously in the 60s. Now, fast forward after Obama left office, and racist 45 decided to run for the president. The backstory is that white America, white men and women, were so upset, so bothered, that a black man was telling them what to do for 8 years, you're talking about nearly a decade, or that a black man was their boss, commander-in-chief, or as we like to affectionately call it in the black community, the HNIC, the head nigga in charge, as Joe Clark said in Lean On Me, that they decided that no matter who runs for president, as long as it is a white male, they're going to vote for him. Now, the saddest part is that after all the pussy grabbing that 45 engaged in with his actions and his behavior, it was white women that actually put him in the White House. And honestly, I've struggled with that reality, seriously, because I think about females in general, but white women across America are okay that a sexual assaulter is in charge as long as it's a white man. And that's really the only conclusion that you can draw. And they don't care about, when you think about this, when you think about sexual assault and molestation and rape, they don't care about their mothers, their daughters, or sisters' safety around this man. Because as long as the president ain't black, then again, this white man can rape with impunity or assault all the females anywhere in his proximity. It's sad because just because they're hateful, and I've again never been able to figure out why, other than the fact that they hate a strong, educated black man like Obama. So now the other side of white backlash, okay, is supported and feared by some black people. And evidence of this is how quiet certain parts of the black community are with respect to criticizing 45's racist behavior. Okay, believe it or not, and this is a fact, there is a large contingency of the black community that is more fearful of white backlash than anything else. There are black people that are still thinking like slaves. They have that old slave drawl. These white folks sure been good to us. So why is us so upset? Candace Owens, Van Jones, Clarence Thomas, and many more. There is this underlying mentality that some black people have adopted. And it's as a result of, and obviously everything goes back to something, but I do believe slavery. That even they believe that you need a white person in charge to keep order. When the truth is, the only things white men have done throughout history is cause chaos and cause murder. Every war that America has ever been in was caused by a white man sitting in the White House. Now, some might say, well, Obama used the military too. Look, bro, Obama came into office with the mindset of withdrawing troops from Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, it don't mean that Obama ain't dirty. Let me be clear. It does not mean Obama ain't dirty. You cannot ascend to the most powerful position in the world and not be screwing over people, in particular, black people. Obama had some things that he could have done that he chose not to, especially when it came to the housing situation, but let me not digress. Obama was trying to close Guantanamo Bay Prison, but the CIA was so heavily invested in these black ops sites for torture, waterboarding, or whatever else they could do to coerce information, and Congress was not having it. White backlash is a threat not only to black people's safety, but to everyone's safety, because it's more about control and emotional immaturity than anything else. On a certain level, I understand why white backlash is as intense as it is, based on this: the dwindling numbers of white Americans and the increase in the number of minorities. What's happening? The power is shifting, and the old white male elite are fighting desperately to hold on to whatever semblance of power that they can. But it's a useless fight because numbers don't lie. The white race is dying. My thoughts are that when the white race is no longer the majority, all the coons and white ass kissing black folks, in my opinion, just go with them. Okay? If you ain't brave enough to fight for yourself and your own people, you need to just go on, sit on the other side with your masses. Now, that being said, I need to balance the other half of the question. Are black people afraid of black freedom? Now, it seems like an oxymoron, right? People that are afraid of freedom that have been in bondage. Well, there are some black people that are afraid, literally, of other black people. They've been brainwashed into believing that black people are to be feared. If they haven't assimilated into the white power structure or American culture as it relates to dress, or talk or walk, or they haven't been able to live in all white areas. These black people are a threat to black freedom because while they should identify by default with black people, their success has convinced them that they're not black anymore. And that is the tragedy. It's like Malcolm X said, what do you call a black man with a PhD? A nigga. But those black folks, they're not going to get it, and they're not going to fully understand until there's a cross burning in their front lawn in their all-white neighborhoods that they thought they safely assimilated into. Now, the other component to the fear of black freedom is the crab in the barrel mentality. Black people have to constantly battle ourselves and the mentality of, well, if they get ahead and I don't, then what? What will happen to me? The Willie Lynch mentality keeps a lot of black people in a constant state of not wanting to work together. And again, it's nothing new, but we still have to be reminded that not working together to be free from oppression and systemic racism is the worst side effect for black people. Harriet Tubman said it best. She said she could have freed thousands more slaves if they realized that they were slaves and deserved to be free. It's amazing and it's stunning to me that the idea of slavery at the time was so ingrained in their minds that the idea of freedom seemed wrong and uncomfortable. And that mentality exists to this day, especially with this whole religion and forgiveness nonsense. Black people have gotten so used to being brutalized and then turning around and forgiving the enemy or the person that brutalized them in the first place, that freedom from that abuse becomes practically impossible because some black folks are in a competition about who can forgive the brutality the fastest. That's what it feels like. Family gets shot up in a car by, racist cops or hateful racists. The very next day, we forgive them. We want them to join our church. We want them over for dinner. Black people are so fractured and splintered on so many levels of society. I don't think we could come together to decide on what parking space to choose if we all went to the mall together. Black freedom from white hostility and police brutality, workplace discrimination, and other forms of microaggressions are the tip of the iceberg of what we need to be working together on to have solidarity against. But the truth is, our hearts and our minds are in too many different places. And it's easy to get complacent and allow the fear of the unknown to paralyze us and to keep us from action. White backlash causes some black folks to fear speaking out against racism and hate. And I'm bouncing back and forth here, but just follow me. White backlash causes some black folks to fear speaking out against racism and hate because they're afraid they might lose something that was never going to be given to them in the first place, like workplace opportunities, or they may lose the respect of their white peers when their white peers don't like them anyway. And proof of that is, ask yourself this question, black person. When was the last time your so-called progressive white coworkers invited you over to their house for dinner or just hung out and it was a non-work related event? Think about that. Black freedom in its purest form is the freedom from care or concern about what or how white America views you. And for that part, any race views you. Black people have got to stop allowing how we are perceived to influence our decisions. We are so concerned about making people mad that ultimately don't give a damn about us anyway, that we are assisting in our own demise systemically. And again, I suspect that religion has everything to do with it. If black people were to decide we don't give a damn what anybody thinks, these are our demands, this is what we deserve in terms of respect and freedom from police brutality and all other kinds of forms of oppression, we would get what we wanted. But again, religion, I gotta come back to that. And this whole thing of you gotta be a good Christian slave and forgive Massa for all the brutality he caused you. Don't you want to go to heaven, boy? Don't you want to go to heaven, girl? And my response is, hell no, not like that I don't. Not like that. And of course, you all know about my whole feeling about the whole heaven, hell thing. It was man-made. But let me finish the analogy. If going to heaven means I got to act like a punk-ass bitch on earth, then no, I don't want to go. Because that means if I do, I'm going to be surrounded by other punk-ass bitches. I mean, scared black folks. I can't do it. Now, I'm laughing at that, but that's the reality. That's what it is. They never stood up for themselves or anybody else. It was a rush to forgiveness. That ain't me. That's not me. I will stand with my ancestors on the pyramids of Egypt and in the spiritual realm of fight your oppressors and love yourself first. Black people, stop being afraid. Stop being scared of white backlash and stop blocking black freedom with your fear. Stop it. Speak up. Speak out. And whatever is yours, and nobody on earth can stop it. Do the right thing. It's okay to step out and stand up for yourself. And if you're struggling with, well, what are my friends going to say? I have a lot of diverse people that I'm friends with, white and Arab or Indian and Latino or Asian. Look, if these people are your friends, truly, the same way you encourage them to talk to you about what's going on in their life, they should support you and the struggles and the issues of yours. If they can tell you about their life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and for whatever reason they can't handle the good, the bad, and the ugly of your life, you may want to rethink why you're in that friendship with that person. Do I think white backlash will ever go away in America? No, not when they're still over 60 years later shooting up Emmett Till's memorial that they've just recently bulletproofed and installed security cameras. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that white backlash would go so far as to desecrate a dead black boy who was falsely accused, by the way, admittedly, by this white woman that he whistled at her. She admitted she lied, but he's still dead. Black freedom is going to come at a cost, as it always has. And black person, I don't care how successful you are. I don't care how proud you are of yourself. If at the end of the day, you have an opportunity to speak up and speak out, but you won't do it because you're afraid of losing $1, then you are part of the problem of why black freedom, real black freedom, does not exist. Now, if I'm the only one from now until the end of time that speaks up and speaks out, then so be it. I've accepted that because I'm not going to cower in the face of intimidation. Well, if you don't do what we do, you're not going to get this opportunity. Man, fuck that. Really, fuck that. Sacrifice. If you can't sacrifice for yourself or for your people, I really don't know what to say about you. You will always be black person. And you will always be faced with the issues and the challenges of the entire black community, whether you accept that fact or not. Deal with it. Just ask yourself, just take one step forward. Just one step and say something. And I guarantee you, it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to paint this fairy tale image. You're going to get resistance. But that's a part of the black existence. And it's important because if our ancestors didn't put it on the line over the last 350 years, you wouldn't be where you are right now today. So you are obligated to put yourself, your career, your profession on the line, black person. And the truth be told, white people are too. They're obligated too, because we are in this together, as MLK said. We are inextricably tied. No way to undo it. We're here together. White folks got to speak out against hate. Black folks got to speak out. But it's going to take white folks fixing it. So, those are my thoughts. And I'm certain you have thoughts of your own. Okay? And keep the conversation going. We need that dialogue. All right? So I want to thank you for checking out another podcast of We Ain't Scared Talk. My name is A1, and you got some good food for thought. Listen again. Tell a friend. We ain't scared.